I am live. Hello, everybody. I see people filing in. That's holding up well. Let's let Andy know that one's holding up well. Anyway, you guys having fun this week? Man, what a crazy week. Giving a lot back from yesterday. More than I care to see, actually. This area I drew right here is a pivot point and the anchored VWAP from the move yesterday. So kind of thought and hoped we'd dig in a little bit right here, but we're bleeding through that level. I've got a few things working. I actually was lucky enough to sit down right at the right time yesterday. And boy, you know, it's funny. Let me share something with you. I noticed, zoom in here. Look right here. So I came in and I noticed we were kind of chugging higher. I bought a few things. And then right here, that wick. This is what happened, you guys. That wick turned red. And I said, okay, you know what now? More headlines? Okay, what do you got? What do you got, headlines? And the headlines were, in fact, being read by algorithms. If you haven't heard, news reading algorithms are out there and they run markets and they throw money around quickly with the speed and efficiency of AI reading the news. Well, here's what happened. As you know, probably, or don't know, Trump midday said China, we're up to 125% tariffs now. And we're going to do a 90-day pause where we're going to, and see, that was the first headline, right? And so the algos read that headline and it was an immediate downdraft in red. Trump, China, 125 tariff. But as they went on to read his post, it said, thanks to all the countries, I think 90 of them or 70 of them who have come to the table. And because of that, we're going to do a 90-day pause and work with those 70 or 90 countries. And that is when the market took off. So there was literally a delay in the reading of the algorithms, reading of the statement, and a bit of a head fake down and then up. So it was kind of crazy. But as I'm speaking here, we're just slowly giving it away. More than half now yesterday, just been bled away. So the sellers are still out there, and the sellers basically are looking at yesterday as a gift to sell into. But we're only halfway through the day. Yes, what's up, Patrick? It's not lost on me, guys, on the sector board here. Gold miners and gold itself are the strongest sector of the day. GDX is still up. I'm in some GDX names. I'm in NG from yesterday. I'm in HYMC, which is a squirrely one, as you can see. And I'm in PSLV from yesterday. And it's going to need to hold this pullback here. If it wants to keep pulling back down to the 5-day, I'm just about done with this thing. It does nothing but tie up too much capital, Patrick. I'm sick of having to buy a bunch of this thing just to have it, you know, screw around like this. But anyway, the story of the day is, as I came live trading wise, what I'm looking at. I told you what happened yesterday, and we closed out on highs, a lot of short covering, but you know, overnight sleeping on it. The sellers are back here, And they've broken through this kind of key level of support that I kind of would have liked to have seen hold. But the gold miner names that I'm in are certainly helping. I'm in some other things that probably are not going to be doing as well now. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this stuff. It's kind of like, if you were here Tuesday with me, kind of the same scenario. I was trying to hold on to some gains, but I was managing my risk to the downside and, gave a lot back on paper. That could very well happen here again live today. Yeah, PSLV and SLV are two totally different charts. Back to gold, I was just telling my neighbor that gold is just, you can't stop it. And the comments I've seen, you guys know I'm long XRP, and I think the headlines of countries flying and repatriating their golds back to their vaults, I think the globe is ready for a new way of defining what currency is, and getting away from this fiat currency we have here. Fiat currency basically says good faith. In good faith, turn this in good faith, and we'll give you. Well, I'll tell you what, I've lost any good faith I've had with the freaking central bank. Back in 71, they took us off the gold standard. I think a lot of countries are about to go back on the gold standard. And if you want to start trading with other countries and currencies, your currency might need to be on the gold standard. That's just my hypothetical 2 cents theory. If you want to wait for the headline, maybe that's coming, but price precedes headlines, as Brian Shannon, my buddy, says. And gold has been strong, had a pretty deep pullback, and has shot back to all-time highs. What's the headline coming down the road? Why are these countries repatriating all their gold? There's probably a reason. So that's why I'm sitting, in as much silver as I can, because I think it's been absolutely throttled to the downside, overcooked. But it needs to continue to show me it's doing an oversold bounce. What that means is this is enough pullback here for the day. We need to start moving back higher here pretty soon. So Qs, as I was showing, they got a little bit ahead of themselves, but the S&P 500 is right here at their 5-day. I'm just kind of thinking by the end of the day, maybe we get kind of a flattened 5-day and we can kind of come back in. When you have a candle like this yesterday, this is, it's a God candle, and there's really nowhere to go from it. All it's really done is just kind of defined a new range. That's it. This is where we are now. And as you can see, we're posting an inside day, and odds coming into today were probably 1,000 to 1 that we were going to post an inside day, meaning today's high will be below yesterday's high, today's low will be above yesterday's low. It's going to kind of, what's going to happen here. We're probably due for some inside trading. You can't follow up a day like yesterday with a lot more. Would have been nice, but would have been uncanny. So I'm just sitting in a few things, nothing special. I'm happy to talk to you guys about whatever you want. We can look at scans, we can look at charts. There are all these, the names down here are short squeezes, but none of them are really green except this one. 29% short. Had earnings a couple of days ago. Summit. Oh, I do have something. That's nice looking. I do have something I can show you guys. It's funny, when I came in on Tuesday, I wasn't even aware of half the things that I was playing with, and Pepe had to show me what the hell was going on around here. But I've been testing, and I'm a lot more familiar with this new development version that I'm testing today. Essentially, for those of you who like to use simulator at Trade Ideas, you're going to be moving away from this kind of thing, except for your P&L score, of course. But you don't have to be sending your orders through here anymore. However, this is still connected, paper trading connected. We don't need to look at that. We just minimize that. Now we can run. Let's just play fun here. So I pulled up Summit, and I said it's got 20% short. Let's see, ASPI. This one also has 29% short. Let's play a simulator on this one. So there's two ways we can simulate trades now, you guys. We can pull up the trade ticket, or what I like to do is just use this new cursor over here. Hit the plus screen. You can adjust the price based on where I was at 5:30. I can set a limit alert, or I can just say market, get me in. Here's what happens. You'll see the chart adjust sideways a little bit to make room for our new P&L graph. So we're doing all this inside of the chart window now. Notice we have default, click and drag. I just click one, and we've got a default stop down here at a smart level. I will click green for the upside target. Now, if you can't see it, when in doubt, zoom out. There it is. Now from here, these are just default parameters for simulator, target, and stop loss. We can tighten the stop loss. If I grab the P&L, pull that red line up a little bit. Now we're only going to risk $500. Well, why are these dollar amounts the way they are? This is the key right here. These three dots in our new browser chart windows. I have defaulted my trade size to 5,000 shares. So it doesn't matter what I'm trading. It's going to be 5,000 shares. Probably a wiser way to do it. Maybe I'll default this now. I'm going to change it down to dollars. Let's change it to $10,000 amounts per trade. So we'll lock that in on the default. Now going forward after these trades, we'll do that. But for now, I can just adjust these up and down and leave those be. And you'll see that they do show up in the old Brokerage Plus, P&L. So you still can flatten from here. If I wanted to highlight that and get out of the trade, I could do so. Or I could just pull up this trade ticket and say, you know what, I'm done. Get me out, sell and sell. So new stuff is coming, guys. Just giving you a quick visual. Don't even try to find it. It's not on your version yet. I'm on the developer version 06. Nice. Yes, Mark. What's up, DJ? Tony Dread. All right. What's up, Jay? Is there a way to have a scanner that alerts when a stock generates two green 15-minute candles when the price is under 15-minute Bollinger Band? Let's work backwards from that. So let's do, since you're talking 15-minute candle, it's like a musician, right? We're going to be in the key of G. We're going to be in the key of 15 minutes. So we also want to be alerted in real time. So we're going to go to alert window. All right. We could do topless, but I think I'm going to do alert. Start from scratch. And then we just search is where it all happens. Notice we do have the GPT help coming soon in the new version. But for now, we're going to just go, okay, 15-minute high. This is going to be our trigger. So we'll enable the 15-minute high. But when do we see that high? This is where the filters come in. So consec candles in the key of 15 minutes. Add that filter. You want to see two. Now, here's the thing. We have to wait for them to close. So ideally, the 15-minute high and the second closing candle, two in a row, will come in and satisfy each other. And then you've got under the 15-minute Bollinger Band low band. Well, this one might be complicated. When we go to Bollinger Bands, we only have the position and band. So we use 15-minute Bollinger Band. But all we have is the bottom band and the top band. We don't have those, the middle signal line or the whatever the lines. I didn't even know half the names. So under the 15-minute low band, if we could do that, if it's the low of the low band, we would have to put 0 in max. Now we check our work here by saying show me, and it says the price is below the lower Bollinger Band. So that's exactly what we want, with a 0 in the max. However, we had 2 consecutive candles. Now I would imagine you want some volume today, so we could do like 100,000 volume today. Price maybe a minimum of $5. Maximum 500, whatever you want. But you could add to this. Let's see if we get anything. So we didn't get anything. Now, it may be because the 15-minute high is just kind of throwing things off. So let's downshift to a top list. So rather than reconfiguring everything, we're going to use this collaborate, which is kind of like the cloud, but this is what the GPT uses as well when it shares things. So we're going to copy, and then we're just going to go new top list. And let's see what the settings are. Those are not our settings, so we have to collaborate paste. Now we have something new, but we're still not getting two 15-minute candles in a row. Now I'm going to venture to guess what if we flipped this -2? Because see, everything's kind of down today. It's hard to find 2 up consecutive candles in a row. And we got tons of things that are down 2 candles in a row. And they would also be below their Bollinger Band. So yeah, that's the problem, Jay. I mean, I'm going to go back to configure. And I'm going to go back to in a good market, in an up market, when things are moving like yesterday maybe. I'm going to say this might be very conflicting here. This Bollinger Band, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find 2 consecutive 15-minute candles under a Bollinger Band. So maybe you do something more like 25 or 35. So it's more like an oversold, but you'd have to play with it kind of in that respect. See, I can get something. So these, let's see if I go back to the configuration here. We should have 2 consecutive 15-minute candles. That's a tough one. That seems like a tough one to configure for me. The Bollinger Bands are really kind of throwing that one off, Jay. I spilled all over my desk. No big deal. The NASDAQ Qs keep bleeding. And the SPYs are coming up on their 5-day. So today has been really no more than just profit taking since the get-go, because you saw the headlines. Yesterday's market was the God candle was the biggest candle in 20 years. There's really nowhere to go from there. So we got to kind of just wait and see who's going to win this tug of war, which is what I'm going to call it, a tug of war. So we still have this ASPI simulated trade. Oh, it's not doing that well. Let's simulate a tighter stop. Just move that up. Chances are that's going to stop out on us, and we're learning. How about that? We're learning as new traders. We're not risking our own money and making mistakes. We are learning. It's probably going to clear out here on the screen. I'll lose all this data because that means the trade is closing. Now I am testing. There we go. Okay, testing successful. A little bit of delay there, but that's how it works. All right. Continued selling, just relentless selling after that big candle yesterday. Yeah, the VIX is probably telling some stories. Look at that. Yep. People are not comfy. We're not comfy right now. So if you're new, I like this blue line here. This blue line is a 5-day moving average. I learned it from Brian Shannon, and this is a perfect opportunity, albeit the NASDAQ has failed its test of the 5-day. You can see it. Hold on a second. Oh, no, it has not failed its test. I was thinking something else. It failed its anchored VWAP. The SPY is a bit weaker than the NASDAQ, and it's the first one to come and test this blue line. This blue line, if yeah, it's not bullish at all, Jay. It's pretty bearish to give back as much as we're giving back yesterday. You think that if yesterday was something to build on, we'd be building on it by now. But if I go to indicators, you'll see I've got a simple moving average that is set to 130 period. 130 15-minute candles divides perfectly into a 5-day moving average. And that gives us the ability to see a 5-day moving average on the 15-minute chart, which is, as you can see, it's a much cleaner way of looking through this vision to see, that's a very clean level there. And you saw it on the other charts versus me having it on here would look like that. And it'd be just another line on here that I don't need. So the reason I use the 130 is a different view to come in and just kind of imprint on a cleaner time frame. And the SPYs are chewing through that slowly here. Now remember, this is where the rally started yesterday. So like Jay just said, we've given back this much of it. I'm sorry, this much of it. Not exactly bullish. The people who were bought yesterday are being tested. Really not typing. And here come the Qs to come and test their 5-day. Okay, I think the sellers are making a statement. They don't care about what happened yesterday. They're mad. And what's too bad is the GDX is starting to give way, which was the thing that was kind of holding me up. Very quickly, can you walk? Yes, the moving average. I could share my chart with you, but sometimes it's easier to do it. You just right-click your own chart and go to indicators. And then on the add tab, you're going to add an SMA. And when you add that SMA, you change the periods to 130. And then once it's selected, it'll show up in the edit tab and you can change the color however you want. And I tell you, I call it the guardrail. It's like a 15-minute candle guardrail. Kind of keeps things in perspective for me. Okay, everything just wants to be sold now. You know what? I've had enough. I've had enough of this PSLV. Just can't get this thing to work the way I want it to. Stop is going in down here at 10:30. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, this is statement selling. Okay, for the moment, maybe we're going to get a little kiss of the NASDAQ and saying hello to the 5-day. But, will it hold? Will it hold? I was thinking that this was totally in the realm of acceptability, this pullback right here. But this has been a statement selling. This kind of tells me all I need to know that yesterday was just not a flip of the switch. And fortunately for me today, as you see, GDX, as I said, this is where a lot of my exposure is today in a couple things. And it's helping keep things relatively sane. But I've given back. Yesterday was a nice bounce. I got a good bounce yesterday, but I've given back half of it. Could be worse because of the GDX stocks that are helping me. Nova Gold is helping me a little bit too. But I just put a stop in this PSLV, as I was telling Patrick earlier. It just takes too much capital. And I'm just so sick of seeing the manipulation of the physical commodity. There's really no reason for it to be doing this. And I know it sounds stupid and conspiratorial, but when you see gold doing that, and then you see silver doing that, there's something wrong. Something's broken. And what Andy and I were saying this morning, is if the market continues to sell off, it's not a matter of, a tariff headline here, a tariff headline there. I think we could be on the precipice of a lot of unwinding of derivatives and a lot of scary shit. So keep your risk tight. Don't get married to anything, because if things start unwinding and breaking in the derivatives market, all bets are off. Anything goes down. Silver breaks like this. These are the types of things that just make me realize something's breaking out there, and it's not good. It's not good. I'm underwater in a couple things. Rum and break even in rum, exactly. Break even in Oklo. Underwater a little bit in BBAI from yesterday. Don't like that one bit. I'll probably take this little flush and use that as my target for a stop. So I say 281 stop for BBAI, and that's not a big loss. So far, this is kind of a replay of me on Tuesday, where you all get to watch me manage things that don't work in real time. Okay. Things are not healthy. So what I do is I just go down the line here. BBAI is my worst. So I just defined my risk in that one. I don't want to give up Kodak. I really like the story here, but at what point, do you give up? There's a lot of space here. I see all this space, and it's like that's where the risk is. Okay, I just lost BBAI because that was the weakest of the board. Okay, this is throwing me for a little bit of a loop here. Dang it. I'll tell you, everything is broken, Andy. Everything is starting to break, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't like what's happening. Not one single bit. Jeez. What a mess. You know what? I'm starting to just throw my hands up and say, I'm just ready to be a spectator again. I don't need this shit. I don't need this shit. Oklo, you're going to get a stop at 63. I've given it much more than I really wanted to this morning. And when I see the NASDAQ fighting there, I'm basically drawing a line in the sand, literally, right here, and saying I'm not willing to risk anymore. So I'm putting stops in my weakest names. I'm just so disappointed in silver and PSLV, but it's telling me something is structurally, seriously breaking down out there. Just something wrong. My stop is at 30. The low there is 33. I'll just keep that. I'm willing to risk that. I'm just tired of playing with this thing. If we look left too, you have to look left. What do I see? I see the damn 200-day moving average literally gave me a reversal tail. Can't get through there. And I don't blame it. technically speaking, that's a headwind. So for me to sit here and think it's going to, I'm just absolutely dumbfounded between gold and silver. I have no other explanation other than something is structurally breaking down globally in the finance system. Yeah, it's been manipulated over and over, and I can sing that dance all I want. And I'd love nothing more than to make money on the backs of these white collar criminals, because that's what they are. Bank of America and JP Morgan, they've been fined more times than I can count, but they freaking go back and they just freaking do it again. And until people get perp walked and held accountable, we're going to see shit like this. Okay, so on a stock like silver, it's a precious metal, and technically, historically, it's always traded about 60 times that of gold. Um, let's ask ChatGPT, what is the current gold silver ratio? And remember, it is typically around 60. We are at approximately 100 to 1. We are at a statistical standard deviation between the relationship historically between gold and silver. There's something wrong. Now, the banks, like who said that? Was it Mark said? The banks have had their way with silver, with COMEX and SLV. You can just, you've all heard of naked shorting, the GameStop thing. Well, these banks, for whatever reason, they say it's probably to keep the dollar strong. Silver's the retail poor man's gold, but they can just literally type it up on a keyboard, create synthetic shares, and dump it on the market as a synthetic short. Well, as you've heard, a lot of countries are repatriating their gold. They're flying their gold back to their vaults. They're calling their leases and loans due, because I believe that the gold-backed currency is coming back to the world. I think derivatives. So Jay, when you get people that keep shorting silver and create derivative on top of derivative with turbocharged triple leverage derivative against silver, you have powers that be that just don't want to see that thing lift. And so we don't have a fair market. We don't have true price discovery. We have manipulation. And some people estimate that for every physical ounce of silver, there's probably 8 or 9 ounces that are floating around in paper, shorts, and derivatives. And I think that's what's breaking. And I think that if I had to guess, this is like the death nail, the death rattle of that game not going to work much longer, of just the silver trading desks on Bank of America and JP Morgan. Those are the worst of the offenders. Just do a Google search. How many times has the SEC fined? Let's ask ChatGPT. Oh, we'll just agree to write a check for almost $1 billion to settle charges relating to trading practices in precious metals. Bank of America, oh, they were fined only 3 million. So JP Morgan's the worst, but see, that was it. I used the word convicted or whatever. They were never convicted. They just settle. All they ever do is just settle. Oh, we'll just write you a check for just $950 million if you just make this go away. We'll pick up the tab for lunch at the Four Seasons. Go pick on the little newsletter guy who's on X trying to make a living. Go after him. All right, Mike. See NVDA possible demand, weekly demand zone. Yeah, possible. That's a bit of a sharp move down and up. If we go to the weekly to really bolster your point. Yep, I see what you're saying. that little area right of congestion right there and that bottom up. I mean, this has been a pretty good pullback in a lot of things, but respectively, they're all doing their own things. Oh, hey there, Joe. Barry doesn't do the YouTube simulcast anymore. You have to go to his room through our Trade Ideas portal. He's still there. He just doesn't. Yeah, he just doesn't come over and chat during the lunch hour. So this has basically been turned into your hour. A lot of people get sent here by support and chat for immediate help, visualization. If not, then myself, the host, it's either me or Andy or Chris, and sometimes Dan when he's not skiing. Just kind of going over ideas in the market and new features or how to scan for things. But let's go back and take a look quickly at the NASDAQ. Okay, so in hindsight, a little bit of a breath of fresh air because this is why I shared that 5-day moving average earlier with, forgot who it was, Jay maybe. I call these the guardrails. I was kind of riffing on that earlier. It's kind of a real interesting waypoint for the 15-minute time frame. These 5-day moving averages. So what'll happen is, like, if the Qs had just kept going and closed, 2 candles more closing, I probably just would have thrown my hands up and given up on everything. But I use these as areas of interest. Let's see, I can get you the link. Hang on a second one. Trading room. For those that are interested that want to be a part of a free room, you're going to get some great calls in there because Barry is always trading the action. If there's action, Barry's trading it. So day traders, that's your spot. Now myself and then Andy here tomorrow at 12 Eastern, we're more swing traders. We're looking at 15-minute charts. We're trying to catch 2 or 3 day moves and kind of surf the market. Boy, look at that. I'm starting to feel a lot better. The 5-day moving average, the guardrail, the area of interest has told me that might be the deepest pullback that any buyers who have been waiting for a steep pullback might be getting. Unless there's a headline that just came out that would be rather timely as well. But pretty good bounce off of that 5-day moving average. What does this SPY look like? A little sloppier, but yeah. Sure, MG. I have 2 lines and 2 lines only in my intraday. So this is a main one, as you can see. We'll go back to the Qs. But I also use this 10 SMA, and this is a perfect example right here. This was that trade earlier, a simulation trade. When a stock is in motion, it's going to stay in motion using the 10 SMA. You disregard that right there, but it found support on the 10 SMA. And when things are moving higher, I expect them to bounce off the 10 SMA and move higher. So what happens is it actually gives me a signal to get out. And the signal is, the first red candle that closes below that rising 10 SMA is usually the moment that momentum is dying. So I call this the momentum line. And then, of course, this flat 5-day here is just a nice, simple guardrail, which, again, on the NASDAQ certainly has kind of come into play. and maybe giving people, a game plan going into the close. If we can hold that, I'm going to turn off that purple line, which was the VWAP, because that did not come into play. Clean the chart up a little bit. And ideally, I'm hoping at least that that's the low of the day. We'll see. Brian was trying to show. Brian will send me stuff back channel, which is nice. Perks. Ah. What was that I sold in haste? It was BBAI. I got stopped out of it. I didn't sell in haste. Oh, gosh. Did I get stopped out of Kodak? No. Did I? Yes, I did. Yeah, I think I did. It's all right. I still have a few things. And I like raising cash for tomorrow. Yeah, I did. Too bad. So the HYMC is doing well. And again, I can't highlight this enough. You guys, when the market opened today and we started pulling back, I quickly made note of the sectors here. What was staying strong? And from the get-go, GDX. And again, this just we looked at gold at all-time highs. Well, the miners of gold never really pulled back at all today. And so any new positions that I took today focused in GDX. And I had some coming in from yesterday too. So I wound up, adding to them on pullbacks if I could. So those are holding me up today for the most part. And NG, HYMC and NG, a couple of small, obscure gold miners. But as you can see, the GDX is the place to be today. It's turning back towards highs. Why is the NASDAQ and SPYs are just trying to find footing? All right. Hopefully that was the base for silver, but I said, okay, enough at 10:30. I still have an active stop at 10:30. I'm just not going to allow higher lows to be taken out. So if that wants to be taken out, that's my stop. We have to stair step this thing. Because trust me, I've got a lot of this. I sure could use that cash tomorrow. The T+1, I can turn right around and have, there's been a couple things I wanted to do today, but I ran out of cash because it's a 401k account is my main focus. And that is not a margin account. And can't short in it. I'd probably buy some of that if I had money, but I don't. Unless I go to another account. But I don't feel like it. Really want to see is I want to see PSLV and SLV decouple from whatever voodoo has been placed on these things. The tale of two precious metals, silver, gold. You tell me. Like I said, I think it's the last hurrah of manipulation. I hope I'm right. Guys, I will be here another 10 minutes or so. So happy to do any charts. If you want me to look at a chart that you're in or a scan that you might need help with or an indicator, just let me know. Another thing that boggles my mind, UUP is a ETF for the dollar. That's one of the reasons gold's going up, as the dollar's weakening, not silver. So in the meantime, I fight the dark, mysterious powers that be. But if I can be positioned when truth and light breaks through, that'll make me happy. The names I see coming through in green are gold and silver miners. How about that? Oh, I'm hanging on to by a thread on this one. I think I've got to stop in that one. Yep, I do. 63. I should be okay in that one. I don't want to lose that one. SoFi. Sure, let's look at SoFi. On the daily chart, it's a mess because it's under the 200. It's under the 10. And the 10 was basically the lid on today. The 10 was like right there. So on the daily, it's under a lot of pressure. But you've got the flattening 5-day here, which is good if we zoom in. So, I mean, essentially, you just don't want to see anything below 10. That's my opinion on that one. Needs to hold this, hopefully. Yes. Well, is it better to use the 5-minute or the 15? That is going to depend entirely on what type of trader you see yourself. I am a swing trader, so I use the 15-minute time frame, so I can come in here and I can maybe grab, almost 2 or 3 days at a time. I like this visual right there. That's 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days. Really get a good picture from my time frame. But Barry, and if you want to join his room, the link is right above. Barry is a 5-minute chartist, as he's playing a lot of things that are moving quickly. And if you're a day trader playing more pure momentum and you want to get out and in quicker, you would use a 5-minute chart. And that's not my game, but that's Barry's game. So it's a nice mix that we have. When we're live here at noon Eastern, we're probably more swing trade focused. But if you want to get more delve into the action and day trading, Barry and his group, they're going to be focused on the action, the right stuff every day, and it's moving very quickly. So Barry doesn't use a 15-minute chart, for that respect. So that gives us a nice perspective when we zoom out using the 15-minute candle and that 5-day moving average. If this was truly a turn in the market short term, there was nowhere to go after a 12% move in one day. So, at what point do the buyers draw the line and say, I want to get in? And that's where I see this 5-day moving average today. And so far, it seems to be holding up. And that's exactly how I would expect this indicator to kind of be used. It's a slow moving indicator. It's a 5-day, but it makes no sense for me to look at it on here. It doesn't tell me anything. As it is, I already have, more moving averages than I care for. But I want to keep things as simple as possible on my intraday. And this is my favorite perspective right here. Just looking at this kind of 3, 4, 5-day look, you can kind of get a feel. So when things go quickly against me, like right here in the moment, I think I sold one thing and only one thing. I let some other things just sit. Now, if that had turned into a red candle and then another red candle, I would be selling more right now, because this is the guardrail that I need to keep above. If the stock's above that, then it's generally in good health on the 15-minute time frame. Once the stocks dip below this blue line, then I would consider them in general bad health. and they're guilty until proven innocent. These names that I'm seeing come through, AG, silver stock, PSLV, of course we know that, SSRM, so NNE, that's a good one because I'm in Oklo. Look at how NNE, this nano nuke, is trying to hold its flat 5-day moving average. This is where the buyers are probably saying, okay, it's our turn now to, like momentum in a basketball game. Maybe the buyers are going to show up for some momentum here. I am in Oklo, which is a stronger nano nuke. It never even came and touched its 5-day. I'm actually going to turn that stop off. I'm going to cancel that order because I like how it's bouncing here. Okay, good. Yes, you're welcome. I got like another 5 minutes if anybody else wants to look at anything. Boy, GDX continues to hold. I mean, it's just not even close. The dark green and then the pink and the red for the rest of the sector board here. And then there's gold. And then there's silver, still trying to turn green on the day. I don't know what the heck it's waiting for. Well, I do know what the heck it's waiting for. It's this right here. You can't just blast through a 200-day moving average from the underside and cut through it like a hot knife through butter. It takes a couple days, takes a couple shots to find the cracks. And if it's going to do it, then it'll do it. If it's not, then it's going to roll back over and close below, and then we want nothing to do with it. You see Tesla popping up. Yeah, relatively speaking, it's weird. SLV and PSLV are a little. Actually, they're right on line now. They're both battling their 200-day. So this is why I try not to freak out in the middle of the day, because I need to see how we close. This might not be how we close. If all things go well and I get my way, we get a big green candle and we close up here. So the closing candle is where I make the decision. At the end of the day, I'll say, okay, I've got 6 positions. This one doesn't look so good. Looks like it's going to close under a key moving average. And I could keep this, but then I'm stuck in it tomorrow. Maybe I sell this underperforming stock like I'm weeding a garden, right? Weed the garden and pull the weeds out. But I have to wait for the closing bell 5 minutes before to see what the close candles are going to look like. And then I go through my garden, I peel out a couple of weeds that don't look good, and I turn that magic money into cash the next day where I can put that back to work and surf, in another area. I don't like being trapped in something all day long where I'm just sitting watching positions. I like being able to have some dry powder and be able to do something. Okay, here's Rumble. This is a position of mine. I don't want to sell it. Weird daily chart, back and forth volatility. But I'm betting that it's going to pop out okay. And for the moment, this 5-day moving average is helping me stay in this bet. So that's my process, guys. That's kind of how I work through it. Yep. Thank you, Mike. PSLV. It's always fun to hold silver into the weekend too. You never know if you're going to get like a big Friday night event and then a big gap on Monday, but that's usually how it works. All right. Anyway, I'm going to have to run, everyone. Andy will be in here tomorrow, same time at 12. And hopefully that was the low of the day there for at least my positions. I've got a couple of tech positions, like I said, Oklo, Rum, and then the rest are gold miners. Extremely oversold in NG. All right. Hey, Bill. Thanks, everybody. I will tune out and see you next time.